So hello and welcome back to AT English Tutorials, and in today's video we are going to read about Tithonus, the second story from your Rhapsody text book of ISC Poems for class 12th. So today we'll be starting with Tithonus, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, a very famous poet from the Victorian age. You should know that what was Victorian age, because being a literature student of class 12th, you are expected to know that what was Victorian age, because it is very famous, and you should also know some famous poets of Victorian age. So let me first introduce you to the Victorian age, and then in this video we'll move further towards the Tithonus, towards the poem. So Victorian age, it is named after Queen Victoria of England. So Victorian age was basically from 1837 to 1901, and it is, as I told you, it was named after the Queen England. It is named after Queen Victoria of England. So she sat on the throne when she was just 18, and she died in 1901, which marked the end of this age. And till this time, industrialization was at peak. So poets began to question the religious faiths, and they were having a sort of rational approach. Literature focused on social reforms, morality, and realism, depicting the real life inequality and the shift from rural and city living. See, before this Victorian age, we have the Romantic age, and after that was the 18th century or the 19th, early 19th century. And in 20th century, we had the realism, correct? So this Victorian age, it acts as a bridge. It acts as a bridge between the romanticism of 18th or the early 19th century and the realism of this 20th century. So people here were more rational on their approach rather than just simply believing on the religious faiths and all. So in this age, novels also become very popular. It's not like previously the novels were not written, but it is here in this age they gained popularity. In Romantic age, plays and poems, they were more famous. One of the most famous novelists of this age was Charles Dickens. And anyhow, in this age, the people, they were mainly they were writing about science versus religion. Books debated scientific theories versus traditional faith. And this period is known for high moral standards, strict social etiquettes, and earnestness. Anyhow, this was all about the Victorian age. And our poet Alfred Lord Tennyson, he also belonged to that Victorian age. That is why I told you about the Victorian age. There are more Victorian poets, and you should have some names in your mind. Robert Browning, his wife Elizabeth Barnett Browning, then again our poet Alfred Lord Tennyson, Matthew Arnold, Thomas Hardy. These all are the famous Victorian poets. Coming back to the our poem, The Tithonus. So I'll be covering it in parts since it's a long and a very complex poem. So this is the first part where I'll introduce you to the poem. I'll introduce you to the story, the Greek myth on which this poem is based on. Okay, so themes. First of all, themes I will tell you, no worries. But again, when I'll do the poem, then we'll again come back to the themes, and then I'll tell you how the themes are related to the poem. So first theme is burden of immortality, gift of death. Second theme is devastating effects of time, isolation and alienation, irreversibility of faith, nature versus supernatural. Just wait for a while. I'll just come back to the themes. No worries. Coming to the setting of the poem, it is in the palace courts of Eos. Before coming over here, let me tell you the story, the Greek myth on which this poem is based on. So in Greek mythology, there was a guy named as Tithonus, and there was a goddess named as Eos. And in Roman, it was the same woman, the same goddess of dawn, Eos. In Roman, she was known as Aurora. So in between my explanation, if I say the word Eos or if I say the word Aurora, both are accepted and both are just one lady. Two names for one person. So in Greek mythology, Tithonus was the lover of Eos. Eos was a goddess of second generation Titan and sister to Helios, the sun god, and Selene, the moon goddess. Eos was the daughter of Hyperion and Thea, the first generation Titans. Aurora was Eos' Roman name counterpart. She was the goddess of dawn. See, you don't need to learn much about Aurora's father, Aurora's mother, Aurora's sisters and brothers because they don't have any reference in our poem Tithonus. But just for your knowledge, I'm telling, it's not important to you. The things which are important to you, I will again be telling to you in the poem when I'll be explaining you the poem. Right now, I'm just telling you the story. So, Eos was known for her love of young, good looking men, that is, mortals. So, Aurora or Eos, being the goddess of dawn, she was immortal, having immortal youth and immortal, obviously, life, never ending life. So, but have you ever heard of a goddess falling in love with a human? No, right? Because a human has a certain life limitation. He has to come, live on this earth, and he has to go. Where he goes, why he goes, we don't know as humans. But humans are mortals. They have a specific time period for which they come and then they go. No one knows that from where they come, from where they go. But it's just the truth, the universal truth. So basically, in this story, in this poem, we'll see it is the Greek myth that Tennyson, portrays us that Aurora fell in love with Tithonus. Tithonus was a mortal, a human being. I'll also tell you about Tithonus. And Eos was the goddess of dawn. Some mythology says that this desire, that is, she fell in love with the human beings, this desire was due to a curse put on her by Aphrodite, a central figure in Greek myths known for her love, beauty, and power. She yields over love and relationships. As a result, she had several lovers, including Tithonus. Tithonus is the man she chose to spend her life with and was known as her lover, consort, and husband. Tithonus was the son of King Laomedon, king of Troy. Again, the fact about Aphrodite, you don't need to learn too much, but if you write it in your answer, it will be more beautified. Then King Laomedon, king of Troy, this fact you have to learn because in the poem you will find the Trojan prince and the walls of Troy, towers of Troy. So there I'll again tell you, no worries. The legend of the boon. Boon is a gift, Vardhan. So that is boon. So Tithonus is mostly known for being Eos' lover because she was a goddess, she was an immortal. So they went to Zeus. Zeus is the god of other gods. And they requested the same, that is the immortality, for her lover Tithonus. Aurora, she was the goddess, she was already immortal. If they had to be in a relationship, then the human being, the Tithonus, also had to be immortal. So they went to Zeus, they demanded for immortality, for the boon of immortality, and they were granted the wish. So now Tithonus was an immortal. Zeus granted a wish, but with a caveat. Eos forgotten to request for everlasting youth. So Tithonus grew old and weak. So, no worries. Wait. So, they had gone to Zeus, correct? They had demanded for immortality. But if a person is immortal, he will continue to age, but he will not die. So that is again a very difficult situation. And this is what we'll find out in the poem. Eos, she being the goddess, she being the immortal, she must be having the immortal youth also. So she would be, full of beauty. She would never age. But Tithonus will continue to age, age, and age, and age, and he will wither. And by seeing his condition, he being getting older and older, day by day, weeks by weeks, and still not dying, then he craves for death. And with this point of view, he goes on writing this poem. So it's a first person narration written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, but spoken by, you can say, Tithonus. So Tithonus grew old and weak. As a result, he yearns for death. In this context, he goes on saying the words written in the poem. Now we come to uh, this, the form and structure. Setting, the poem is set in the palace courts of Eos in the eastern sky. See, sun rises from the east. So the sun's rays also comes from the east. That is the dawn. It starts from the east. So the goddess of dawn will also enter this entire world from the east. So it is her place. So therefore, palace courts of Eos in the eastern sky, because uh, she lived in the eastern sky, and there she was having her palace. And in this palace, Tithonus was also living. Tone, the tone of the poem, it's a complex blend of very melancholy and wait, the spelling of melancholy is wrong. It's Meloncholy. Melancholy. Please make a correction. It's my bad. Then elegiac, longing, and tragic irony. Form and narration style, it's a dramatic monologue. That is, it's being said by one person, that is Tithonus. Then it's first person narration. Structure, this poem does not has a particular stanza wise what we call it, stanza wise distribution. But again, in our poem, in our text, in the book Rhapsody, it is divided in several paragraphs, several stanzas, and that we'll continue to read. But I will like to request you to number the lines of the poem like this. See, as you can see, each line is being numbered. So in total you have 76 lines. So please do that. In the next part I'll be explaining you the poem. So before that, you do this. So lines 1 to 10, it is the introduction of the setting, the cruel immortality. Lines 11 to 31 is the backstory, the request for his boon, immortality and realization. Lines 32 to 42 is the description of Dawn. 43 to 45 is Aurora will not answer him is Tithonus. 46 to 49 is the fear that gods themselves cannot recall their gifts. A nostalgic flashback to his youth and his past passion was lines number 50 to 63. And then from 64 to 76 we have the final plea, the final request, the final demand for death and a return to earth. So this is all for the introduction of the poem. I hope that you are very clear with the plot, the backstory, what happened, and this is about the, see here, as you can see, it is Zeus, the first picture. The lady with the wings is Eos, and the person here is Tithonus. In the second picture, Tithonus has grown old, and here we find Eos also. Also, one more thing I want to bring into your notice. See, this is the original Greek myth, but we know that the goddess of dawn, along with Tithonus, they had gone to Zeus, and from Zeus they demanded the boon of immortality, and Zeus granted it. This is the original story. But in the poem, we'll find that Tithonus will ask for the boon from the goddess of dawn, that is Aurora herself, and Aurora will grant it. So again, according to the poem, that is correct, but according to the Greek myth, they had gone to Zeus. So this is slight modification that Tennyson made just for his convenience. But now you know that what was the original Greek myth. Also, you should know when Tithonus, he became very feeble. Feeble is weak. He became very old and weak. So Aurora changed him into a grasshopper. So just you need to know, it's not of so much of use, but for your curiosity I'm telling. And so this part we ended up here, and in the next part we will go through the poem in detail, and that's going to be a long video because this poem I believe is one of the most complex poem from your entire class 12th point of view. Lot of illusions, lot of difficult lines, lot of references from the Greek mythology. So yes, it needs to be explained well, and it will take a lot of time. So don't think that it would be a short video of 10 to 15 minutes and the poem will be ended. The poem is a complex one. an important one, and it will take time. So thank you. This is all for this video. Doubts you can post in the comment section, and we'll meet you in the part 2 for the poem Tithonus. Thank you so much.